The 3-episode rule is a golden standard amongst anime fans, at least us OGs. It's simple. You give an anime 3 episodes to see if it hooks you in, so that you don't waste too much of your time watching a show that you won't necessarily like. Today, we're going to be covering one of the birthplaces of isekai. We're going to be diving into self-recovery, creating a new path for yourself, and don't worry, cool battles. So let's find out if Accel World passes the 3-episode rule. To my surprise, Accel World was based on a light novel series written by
Haru.
You'll tell if I got that right, whether the AI voice did it or not. This is the same creator as Sword Art Online. This made me speculative when I was starting the show, mainly because I've watched more than 3 episodes of Sword Art Online. A friend made me watch it when we were sitting down having a few drinks, and I have never forgave him for it. You know who you are. Sword Art Online really set the standard for what made an isekai, but this show is sort of like its foundation. Much like our main character in this show helped Sword Art Online fly and soar. While Sword Art Online focuses on a full dive into the VR MMO, gimmick, Accel World explores a different concept, a secret program called Brain Burst that allows the users to accelerate their perception of time and engage in high-speed duels. This is essentially like stop time, right? Your brain is being sped up so fast that reality literally stops. They then go and develop the vast world. Brain Burst doesn't just give you that ability though. It's a game in itself, and you need to compete in order to keep your burst. And that's the overall premise of the show. The anime adaptation was produced by Sunrise. They have to do all the futuristic visuals in this coming of age story. And if you compare it to modern anime, 24 episodes is more than enough to develop your characters and deliver a very thoughtful and satisfying narrative. However, that's not the point of this video. This video, we're here to see if its foundation of its first 3 episodes will pull me as a viewer in. So let's go and touch those episodes, will we? Episode 1, Acceleration. We're introduced to our protagonist, Haru. So Haru's character design really just displays exactly what type of guy he is, unfortunately. See, Haru is the only character in the show to be designed like this, while everyone else looks like this. So yeah, the guy's kind of like depressed about it, because Haru is bullied in school consistently, and his only solace is that he is good at video games. See, Haru is an easy target. He's short, he's overweight, and he's socially awkward. Although he has friends that support him, he's distancing himself from them for some reason. He's feeling this anxiety build up inside him because of the bullying and his perception of himself. But then to his surprise, the most popular and beautiful girl in school takes a surprising interest in him. She invites him to lunch, and when they go to lunch, they do this thing called a cable link. Now, cable link is seen as romantic in this setting. I don't really know why, but hey, it's a pretty intimate thing, I suppose. And this kid who nobody knows is going up to the most popular girl in school and cable linking with her. That's when she introduces the world of Burstlink and persuades him to download a suspicious program called Brain Burst. Haruyuki explains that the Brain Burst is a secret program that allows users to accelerate their perceptions of time, effectively making time and space around them stand still. However, the program is also a fighting game where users, known as Burstlinkers, duel each other in virtual arenas using avatars. When you first download the program, you have a weird ass dream. This is just apparently normal, and because of that dream, all of your insecurities pour out and turn into your avatar in this game. Haru hesitates but ultimately accepts the program and becomes a Burst Linker. When Haru first activates Brain Burst, he is thrown into this blue, surreal void world, a perfect reflection of the one he was just standing in. After we get this exposition dump, a bully who Haru was ignoring and avoiding today came to confront him and asked for his lunch. Haruyuki then baits the bully into hitting Haru. She then prompts Haru to Brain Burst and feint the blow so that he can fall backwards into her and she can fall even further backwards into a window, because the bully has been bullying him the whole time off of camera, but this location always had a camera. Now Haru is free of a bully, has a new companion, and things seem to be looking up for our hero. But what exactly does Haruyuki Hime want with our chubby little guy, Haru? So that's the synopsis of the first episode. I gotta say a few things. Honestly, the animation and art style are just really good. Sorry, they're just really fucking good. Especially for its time. Really, especially for its time. And you really can tell that this is like a proto isekai because there's so much focus on the real world rather than the fake world. The virtual world is just a mechanic in order to push the narrative forward. All of the characters are based in reality. It's real relationships, and I actually really appreciate that. But that might change in future. This is only the first episode. Haruyuki does say one thing to Haru before leaving school. Do not connect to the global web, no matter what, and I'll see you tomorrow. And he disconnects from the global web. But when he gets up in the morning, he reconnects to accept some lunch money off his mother. So on his way to school, something hits him. He is sent into the virtual world without his consent and is forced to fight in a battle. Brainburst isn't just an ability, it's a fighting game. This guy with a bike comes and wrecks him, and he loses horrifically. But we do get a look at his character design for his avatar. He's this metallic metal superhero sort of vibe. It's a pretty solid design, honestly, although it's a little too close around the pecker for my liking. I'm just calling Kuro from now on because I hate saying that long ass name. But Kuro calls him an idiot for not listening to her advice, and then explains the mechanic of Burst Link. They hop into a game themselves, and they will make sure that it ends in a draw so that no one lose any points. Points? Haru learns that Brainburst is not just a game, it's a battle of survival. Brainburst linkers lose their ability to accelerate if they run out of Brainburst points, which are earned through victories and losses within the game. Kuro warns Haru to be careful, as the world of Brainburst is filled with dangerous opponents who will stop at nothing to win. And we're introduced to his dual avatar, Silver Crow. Although Kuro really likes the avatar, because apparently it's strong, and is to her style needs. But Haru hates it. He lost a fight because of it, and it's weak, and he wants to change it. But she lets him know that this is not happening, kid. Your avatar is automatically selected for you by a weird ass dream you had the night before. Weird, I know. Haru was dreaming about birds, so I assume that this thing is gonna fly. And that's why it's so weak. Birds have hollow bones, don't you know? Haru notices that her avatar hasn't changed, and that's because she's hiding it from him. She's saying it's ugly, but we both know that that's probably not the case. There's more than meets the eye with this woman. Burst Linkers have 100 points, and they really don't want to lose them, because as I said, they'll lose their ability to use Burst Link, which they can use in the real world to succeed at whatever the hell they want. Think about it. Mike Tyson is fighting a baby, but the baby has the Burst Link, so the baby can stop time and dodge every single one of Mike Tyson's punches, therefore winning the match. Pretty crazy. But if you lose all your points, you can never accelerate again. This prompts the players to fight battles with higher level opponents to gain more points. And yes, there's levels to this. You can level up within this game. Now, Haru is full of imposter syndrome at this point. I mentioned before that he's insanely insecure because of how he looks and the fact he was getting bullied. And now that the most popular girl in school is talking to him, he kind of feels like he owes her the world. And he voices that to her now, in this moment. And then she says, we're both human, and the gap between us can't be closed. But there's a bit of like a romantic tingle there for some reason, which is crazy. And he's just like, bitch, of course there's a gap between us. I was a loser, and now my life is way better just because you're involved with it. You made me happy. Because of that, he's willing to do anything for her. And she likes that because she needs help with something. But before that, Haru needs to learn how to fight. Then off screen, they plan a strategy for the fight. And when they take their link out and start eating their food, people come up to them and are wondering why they're sitting together. That's when she reveals that she asked him out and he rejected her. No one around believes that, mainly because I thought it wasn't true. But the fact that she was saying that gulf thing, the thing I was talking about 2 seconds ago where it felt like it was romantic, well, apparently it was. And she brings that up so much in the show, by the way. It's kind of like icky. Don't like it. Haru gets the jump on the biker, landing a clean and pretty significant blow right off the bat. However, he spends the rest of the time running the hell away because there ain't no way he's landing another one. So he has to time out the bike. If he jumps to a building, he'll be safe because, well, it's a bike, he can't get up there. But this guy leveled up last time because they fought and he won. Therefore, his bike upgraded and can climb walls. He then chases Haru around on the roof for a while, beating the crap out of him until Haru pulls off a Giga Brain play and lifts the back wheel of the bike. Bro can't move. And before the biker can land a solid hit, he runs out of time and Haru wins, gaining back his points and then some. Throughout this fight, spectators have been watching and commenting, many of which applaud him for making such a significant play. After that, he logs out the fight and he's still outside the school. So, while Koro is congratulating him, they introduce something I don't like. Now, I don't hate the character of Chiyu. What I hate is the trope that these isekai shows do. It's just they make the main character, even though they're like the most undesirable person in the world, the most popular with the girls. It's a power trip fantasy of the romantic level. Like, I wouldn't mind it if it didn't show up so often, but it's every single one of these isekais have this. So Chiyu is actually Haru's like childhood friend. And she's genuinely concerned for Haru because suddenly one of the most popular girls in the school is taking a massive interest in him and putting him in the spotlight. And she knows that he wouldn't really like to be in the spotlight. So she confronts her, asking if Kuru is using him. What does he want with him? Honestly, just kind of being a good friend. So instead of just being like a healthy dialogue between a group of people, instead it escalates to Kuru literally saying to the world that there's nothing malicious here. I just asked him out and we're going on our first date. Apparently he rejected her though, so I don't know what the hell is going on here. Then Kuru drags Haru off. Now, I said I didn't really like this love triangle thing, and the show so far has been so good at just being a solid narrative through and through. But with this third episode, insanely exposition heavy. I mean, pretty much the entire episode is exposition. There is essentially 2 scenes in the entire episode. One at a coffee table explaining the mechanics of the Brain Burst game, and the second half with Chiyu, which I don't like much. But hey, I called something that happens in episode 4 though. Called something that happened in episode 4. Just there's another character that we've been introduced to that hasn't made any significant waves to be mentioned in the video. But if you want to watch the show, you'll know. Turns out that Kuru has been suspicious of Chiyu for a while now. For something that we don't know yet, Kuru thinks that she's a burst linker. Haru is like, hell no, ain't no way my girl a burst linker. I known her since day 1. Kuru doesn't quite believe him. And they explain the entire premise of the world that we haven't even seen yet. There is only around 1,000 burst linkers, and only a very small percentage of those have made it as far as level 4. And if you meet someone higher than that, it's most likely that they're a legion leader. Legions are essentially just clans like in any other game. These regions are ruled by the 6 kings, the 6 colored kings, I believe. All of these leaders have hit level 9, and level 9 isn't the highest level. If you get to level 10, you get to meet the creator and learn why the program was even created. But all the kings made a vow together not to go to level 10. They have something good here, so let's just stick it out. Level 9 is good enough because of what it gives us within the real world. However, there wasn't always just 6 kings of pure color. There used to be 8 kings, and she was one of them. Black Lotus, the Black King. However, she did not want to go through with this truce. She wanted to hit level 10 and figure out what happens at the end of the road. So when she disagreed with the kings at this tribunal, she decapitates Red King. The rest of the kings liked that guy and didn't appreciate it very much. They went for her and she fled. And she's been running ever since. And that's her goal, to reach level 10. And that's why she chose him, because he can help her get her there. Now, she's been able to survive the past few years dealing with this. She's been staying off the global web entirely, because if she connects to it, anyone can challenge her, including the other colored kings. Therefore, she's hiding on one network, and one network alone, which is the school network. But there is a player called the Cyan Pile on this network. They've challenged her to a fight on school premises 10 times, and every time she makes it out. But his fighting style is really reckless, so it means that he really needs these points. She knows that this Cyan Pile guy is desperate, but she's head of the student council. She's up at the top of the stage during school all the time. She can see every single student in attendance. She could challenge him to a burst link then and see who he is, because the character will be replaced by his avatar. However, she's tried that and she couldn't see him. It's someone connected to the network, but not necessarily someone in the school. But that's very unlikely. It's more likely that they're a very talented hacker, or that they know the creator of Burstlink. But Haru can challenge him, and then they can learn his identity. That's where he comes in. And Kuru thinks that this is Chiyu. She thinks that Chiyu is the Burstlinker. Why else would she be so aggressive towards her? That was her suspicion. Of course, we know that's not the case, because it's just lovey-dovey isekai slop. But hey, Haru then goes into Chiyu's room and links up with her. They have a small cable, so it makes for this really uncomfortable scene where he's apologizing for basically alienating her since they got into secondary school, and she is just, upset with him. It's really disingenuous. He's saying all these things that he probably genuinely means, but he's literally just going around searching through her search history to see if it's her at the same time. It's the sneakiest shit ever. And honestly, it's just a dick move. You've known this person from day one. They're your best buddy, and some chick comes over and you're immediately willing to just completely betray their trust like that. They reconcile and kind of reaffirm their friendship, but not before Haru sees a backdoor program within her files. He doesn't know what that is, but it's certainly something that she doesn't know is there. And that's where the third episode ends. Now, that was a lot of complaining, okay? Like, a lot of complaining. So I guess you're wondering, does Accel World pass the 3-episode rule? I hate to say it, but it does. Absolutely. The series sets up a fascinating world and introduces complex characters and delves deep enough into the action and intrigue. Like I said before, this is an isekai that's focusing on the real world, the relationships that this character has in the real world, right? And it only uses the Accel world as a way to progress the narrative in the real world. It's genuinely so freaking refreshing. There's moments like this in other isekai. Shangri-La, for example, is a great example of this, but Shangri-La only does it in parts. This has every character in the cast so far involved in the real world. Isekais nowadays tend to just delve straight into the fantasy world and don't play off the isekai genre like at all. Sure, the initial reaction of the character being thrown into a new world is interesting, but how many times do you think readers are going to see that same opening in 100 different shows or stories and not get bored of it? Because I know I am. At least this way, they're able to play two settings against each other, something that's very rarely done in any show. Gate did it, but Gate is poopy and dog poopy. Although I will say, shooting up medieval people is crazy cool. The narrative structure has a very similar thing to like Persona 3, 4, and 5, where our characters with their special abilities are constantly coming into contact with people who gain the ability from their reality, forcing these very unlikely people to come together and to form pretty cool bonds and go through the story together. Don't get me wrong, it has some slop moments. Like the romance stuff is so lazily done, I really don't like it. I think I've just been spoiled recently because of like Dan to Dan and other shows like that, that get romance so right while also running with like 3 other narratives perfectly and also being hilarious. I'm not saying this show's a 10 out of 10. I'm just saying I would definitely watch more episodes, so it passes the 3-episode rule. If you like this video, try out these 2. They're both 3-episode rules. They're pretty cool. And, if this gets any views and people actually comment on it, I'd love for you guys to pick the next type of video I do. I want to do something other than 3-episode rules, but maybe character reviews? I don't know. Power system reviews? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.